If you like using the Vector and Escape from Tarkov, but don't like the near 100,000 ruble price tag that seems like it's always increasing, or if you're just always looking for new budget weapons that you feel like you can wreck some chads with, then this video is for you. I'm JesseKazam. Welcome back to another Escape from Tarkov video. I stream Escape from Tarkov on Twitch. All my links will be down below. I'd love to have you stop by and say hey. And I'd like to thank the sponsor for today's video, Juju. Juju is designed specifically for gamers to improve reaction time, focus, and energy without producing any sort of hard crashes. One of the things I love about them is that they're really transparent about the ingredients that they put in, and they put ingredients in that a lot of other people don't, like Glutamax 2020, which helps with eye health and eye strain when looking at computer screens all day. All the flavors are really, really good, and they're always adding new ones, and they've got some really interesting ones like horchata and pina colada, and they're all really, really good. If you're interested in something like this, you can use code KAZAM at checkout using the link below for 10% off your order. With all that out of the way, though, let's go ahead and dive right in. So in this video, we are talking about the MP9. So if you guys have watched my content before, you know that I love 9mm, I love SMGs, I love fast fire rate weapons with relatively low recoil that I feel like I can just kind of shred through armor or helmets or visors. And this is one of the weapons that I feel like often gets overlooked. It's viewed as just like almost like a rat weapon, or just something people use with maybe one mag when they just run in to try and get good loot. But I've been using the MP9 a little bit more recently, and this thing absolutely shreds. So the reason at the beginning of the video, as we break down the stats, I'll kind of pull up this Vector here. The reason that in the beginning of the video that I made the association with the Vector is because, and I've been making similar arguments with guns like the MP5 SD and stuff like that, where the Vector is an amazing gun. The Vector absolutely shreds, and it has a lot going for it. And because of that, you've got tons of people using it, and people are calling for nerfs to 9mm or make the Vector more expensive or all sorts of stuff. And I've been sitting here, a guy that doesn't use meta HKs and stuff like that very often, thinking that there have been plenty of guns that perform 80 to 95% of the way to the Vector. It just doesn't look as cool as the Vector. So if you don't like spending 100,000 rubles on a Vector, or if you want to buy more than 3 in a reset or something like that, the MP9 is a pretty solid gun. So we'll break down the stats. So there's two variants of the MP9, the MP9 and the MP9N. The difference between them being primarily the fire rate. The MP9 has a fire rate of 900 rounds per minute, and the MP9N has a fire rate of 1,100 rounds per minute. Yes, that's right, 1,100 rounds per minute. Faster than the 9mm Vector at 950, and tied with the 45 Vector, which also has 1,100 rounds per minute. The other differences are the regular MP9, you can put your own foregrip on, although we'll talk about it doesn't really make that much of a difference. And the MP9N has an additional rail here, so you can put like a flashlight or something on it if you don't want to suppress it. So we will kind of break down the price associated with this and that kind of stuff, and then we'll talk about why I think it's so basically closely linked to the Vector. So the MP9 you can purchase, if we go to the flea market, you can purchase them for around 25,000 rubles, or from Peacekeeper for 274 rubles. This comes out, sorry, $274, which comes out to about 34,000 rubles. So even at its highest point, if you're buying it from the trader, it's about 34,000 rubles, which is a far cry from the 100,000 rubles that a Vector has. But interestingly enough, because of how popular you can find these in stashes and stuff like that, the MP9N is about 15 to 18,000 rubles on the flea market. As far as I know, this is a loot-only weapon. You can't purchase this from a trader, but it is obviously there's a lot of them. So 15,000 rubles. Now I can already hear and see the comments down below. You know, this was my gun and now you've ruined it, and now they're going to triple in price. If you're legitimately concerned about that, here's how it's going to go. If this video does well and everybody wants to start doing it, they might double in price, and then they'll level back out to almost this in like 3 to 5 days. It always levels back out. They're not going to be, and to be honest with you, even if they were twice as expensive, the 15 to 18K, even if they double in price, in my opinion, this is still a very good value proposition for the gun that you're getting. So it's just one of those things where I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think it's still worth it. Anyway, so like we said, not much of a difference other than the fire rate. And what's weird is that the fire rate, the higher fire rate one, the better one is cheaper, the MP9N, because of how often you can find these things. It costs about 30,000 rubles to suppress because you need two different things. You need the adapter. The adapter has a rail on it. So that's why you can put, on the regular MP9, you can put like a flashlight or a laser on it because it's got that down below. But if you wanted to go unsuppressed, you wouldn't be able to put a laser or a light on it, but you can with the MP9N because of this rail here. So you'll have to purchase both of these things, and it comes to about 30,000, 34,000 rubles to suppress the weapon. So now we can look at some stats. We can look at what they are stock standard without the suppressor on it. The MP9N has 55 vertical recoil. You slap a suppressor on, and now you're at 49. The MP9 is a little bit different, 56 and 50. So they're very close. Now this definitely isn't best in slot, right? Like a stock Vector has 32. You put a suppressor on, you can get it to like 20 something. And if you trick it out, you can get it to like 21 or something like that. And that makes sense, right? These guns can't be absolutely identical because then there'd be absolutely no reason to buy a Vector. But if you are used to guns in this range of recoil, or can practice it a little bit, it's not that bad. The thing is that you have to look at like other guns as well. If you're using an AKM or an SA58 or an M4 or something like that, getting down to like the 40 to 50 recoil range is very usable. Now, I totally understand that SMGs, you kind of want them to be those laser beams, and this does have a little bit of a vertical kick to it, but we're talking about a gun, you know, at 15,000 rubles, you could buy 246 of these MP9s before you've purchased a Vector. And like I said, in my experience, this is pretty usable. They both have really nice ergo in the 70s. So you can put whatever foregrip you want on this. But the difference is if you spent like 30 or 40,000 rubles on the RK1, the best in slot for recoil, I believe it brings it down to 49 or 48. And if you use the best in slot for ergo, it brings it up to like 78 or 79. So you can use one of these much cheaper. When you get down this far, you know, recoil really comes from like different butt stocks and longer barrels and the different suppressors and stuff like that. The foregrips don't make that much of a difference. So it's not worth thinking that you can buy this and then buy a really nice foregrip that's worth more than the actual gun, and then you're going to get the recoil down. You're actually not. The 49 that comes on this once it's suppressed is basically as good as you're going to get it, so there's no use spending any extra money, which is why I'll recommend the MP9N. Faster fire rate, cheaper on the flea market. You don't need to buy a foregrip for it. Even if you don't want to suppress it, you can rock a laser and it's still, in my opinion, usable. These things absolutely shred. So that's like the MP9, the Vector. So now we could just talk about why I associate these weapons. So the MP9 shoots faster than the Vector. It has very similar, if not better, ergo than the Vector. It's cheaper than the Vector. It's essentially just as modular in the sense that like most people aren't replacing the buttstocks of the Vectors. Like the value proposition is really just putting a suppressor on it, putting a foregrip on it, getting it down to that like 20s, mid 20s in the recoil, and then letting this thing be a laser beam. Whereas with the MP9, you don't really need a foregrip. You're putting the suppressor on it. You can put flashlights and lasers on it. Like that's one cool thing about the Vectors. It's got all the rails already on it. It's got all that on it. So it really comes down to a recoil game where the Vector, of course, is going to be a little bit more of a laser beam, where you've got to be a little bit more aware and have a little bit more control with the MP9. That's going to be one of the big differences in favor of the Vector. In favor of the MP9 is obviously that fire rate. That's a huge point for the 45 ACP Vector because 1,100 rounds per minute is just an insane amount of rounds down range. It's just, you're just shredding. So if you're hitting targets, you can absolutely shred. This is where I've said it before and I'll say it again, 9mm or smaller calibers like this shine. It's the ability to put 2 or 3 bullets on target in the time it takes you to shoot 1 or 2 bullets from like an AKM or something like that. Well, that has a lot more stopping power. So the fire rate is really adds to the DPS potential of these guns. And the other thing is going to be the magazines, right? So that's been a huge thing why people enjoy the 9mm Vector over the 45 ACP is those larger magazines. And that's going to be another thing, obviously, in the case for the Vector. It's got the 50 round Glock mags. The MP9, you can have up to 30 rounds. So it's not super limiting. It's not like you have to use small magazines. You can do 15, 20, 25, or 30. You buy them all from Peacekeeper. The 25 rounders are almost half the price. So if you're going for more of a budget run, you can use the 25 rounders. I have many, many times. Very few of us actually use our magazines all the way down to 0 every fight. So if you want to bring 25 rounders and bring a few more of them, you feel like they can do that. But these aren't that expensive. You know what I mean? 40 USD is not that expensive. So you can purchase the 30 rounders as well. So that is kind of the MP9. It's once again, we're not talking about a 1-to-1 ratio to the Vector. We're talking about something that is like a sixth of the price that performs maybe 85% of the way there. If you feel confident controlling recoil, and there's really no reason to be going out and buying Vectors, because these are really, really capable weapons if you kind of know what you're doing. Now, the thing with 9mm that we always have to talk about, especially since it's fluctuating so often, is the ammo and the prices of the ammo and how reliable you can kind of kill people with this ammo. Now, I've done this before, but we're here at the wiki looking at all the 9mm ammo. Obviously, just in case you don't know, but this is pretty obvious, the 7 and 31 is the top tier with 39 pen, 52 damage. The 9mm AP, 30 pen, 52 damage. So these are the ones that most people use. The obviously 7 and 1, the difference between 30 and 39 pen is actually huge. That 9 pen, it's going to be much, I mean, you're shredding class 4 armor. You've got the ability to go through class 5 armor. I've done breakdowns like this in the past. Go to my MP5 SD video or anything like that, where this can actually rip through class 5s, Coruns, Gen 4s, and stuff like that. Definitely with one magazine. If you get the drop on somebody with Gen 4 and you're going 1100 rounds per minute, center of mass, and he's got a full 75 durability Gen 4, you're shredding that. You are shredding that. Class 4 armor seems to be more popular than it's almost ever been. You got a lot of people rocking that, and that's going to be no problem with 39 pen. With 30 pen, you definitely have to be, it's once again still possible if you're mag dumping, hitting every single one of your shots center of mass. But I would say if you're running AP, you have to be a little bit more cognizant of if you're seeing a Chad going for those face shots. You know, a fast MT or an exfil helmet, those face shields are only class 3, which means you're going to be penning that face shield. Those face shots are going to be devastating, or even just playing with them a little bit, shoot them in the leg just to break the leg, rotate, try and get a better angle. You have to be a little bit more aware. But for people that say that you can only use 9mm with 7 and 31, I disagree. I use AP all the time. It's all about you gear up and you go into your raid and you understand the gear that you have and what you have to do to accomplish your task. It's just understanding what you have. Even though the wipe's only been out for a month or two, this late in the wipe, it seems crazy to say this late in the wipe, PST and Green Tracer and all that stuff is probably not going to be that good of an option. If you're rocking PST because you're going super budget, you just got to hit them in the face. You just got to be going for those face shots. And then if you have access to the ammo and you want to go leg meta, the Quake Maker and the Rip rounds obviously are just going to shred flesh damage. So you can go for the leg meta if you want. But the ammo problem isn't just that, is it capable of killing people, is its availability. So AP, which is 5 USD a round, and it really comes out to about 4.3 USD a round, is always sold out. Like almost always sold out. And then likewise, the 7 and 39, the really good stuff, is 1,600 rubles per round. And it is also always sold out. But here's the thing. If you want to use 9mm just as your main weapon all the time, you're going to have a hard time keeping up with the amount of ammo that you want. However, I've got an ammo case full of this. I've got overflow here. And it's interesting, if you notice, almost all of this is found in raid. Crafting 9mm ammo in the hideout is, in my opinion, the absolute best way to go. It's not super fast. The way I like to do it is I like to craft a bunch and use other weapons, and then I can use 9mm all day or for a few days. And then I go back and kind of switch it over to other guns. So you can craft the 9mm AP and craft 200 rounds for 2 red gunpowder and 200 PST GZH, which you can buy from Propor or whatever, super cheap. The red gunpowders are expensive, however. And then similarly, you can craft 7 and 31 using green gunpowder and blue gunpowder and some nails. I hate these menus so much. Okay, here we go. So 3 green, 4 blue, 300 PST, and 4 nails. Now, once again, the problem is the green gunpowders are pretty expensive. So I just do this the long way. This is a great way to level up hideout management, level up the crafting skill. The crafting skill is currently bugged, but that's going to be fixed soon. So if you're watching this even just like a week or 2 after, I'm sure that it's fixed. Because you can craft all of those gunpowders. Crafting green gunpowder has always been a way of making a little bit of cash, or using that green gunpowder to craft stuff you can make a ton of cash with. 2 M67s. M67s are like 8,000 rubles when you convert the dollar amount to rubles from Peacekeeper, and a smoke grenade is like 3,000 rubles. So for like 15 to 20,000 rubles, you can craft a green gunpowder. You can craft a blue gunpowder buying 70 PS rounds from Propor, which that comes out to be stupid cheap, although blue is pretty cheap on the market. That's 5,600 rubles. I think blue's like 16 or 20K on the market. And then you can use a green and a blue and matches to craft 2 red. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just always shifting between crafting green gunpowder, blue gunpowder, green gunpowder, blue gunpowder. If I want some AP, I'll then use these to craft 2 reds and then just buy some PST and craft the AP rounds. Or if I've got a bunch of green and blue, I'll just buy the nails and the other ammo that I need, the PST, and then craft 300 7 and 31. So this isn't something that you can just hop on and be like, yes, I want to buy a bunch of ammo. But to people that say it's impossible to get ammo, it's really not. You just have to be a little bit aware that it's going to take some time. But like I said, I just kind of ended up accidentally with an ammo case full of 9mm, really good 9mm ammo. So I'll use this until it's almost empty and then just kind of keep crafting. Those are my favorite workbench. Once you kind of get through most of the quests, in my opinion, that's like the best, because I love 9mm SMG so much. That's like my favorite thing to be crafting. So I'm just always crafting those gunpowders and then the ammos with it. So that's the MP9. Sorry that was a little bit long-winded. It's just one of those things where I feel like there are guns in the game that perform really close to the meta guns that get often overlooked, that are really cheap, that perform really, really close. And I wanted to make sure I kind of backed that up and talked about why the MP9 is good, what makes it obviously not a vector, what about it is a little bit worse, and then how to get the ammo, because ammo is, the most important thing in Tarkov. It's as important as the gun and the stats of the gun. So being able to reliably get it is really important. So I hope that this helped. I hope that this maybe just kind of broke something down, got you thinking about a gun that you don't normally use. My goal with these is all these gun videos, all these cheap Jad Destroyer videos, isn't to have everybody in the game rocking these guns that I make the videos about, but to show people that just the one meta thing in each caliber, or the one meta thing in each platform, is super fun to use sometimes, but that you have other options and that you can still be absolutely proficient at the game. So hopefully you try out the MP9, have some fun, and win some raids in Escape from Tarkov. Thank you so much, as always, for taking the time to check out this video. If you liked the video, think about dropping a like, dropping a comment down below, subscribing to the channel. All that stuff helps me out a ton, probably more than you know. So thank you so much to those that do that. Like we said before, I stream Tarkov on Twitch. All my links will be down below. And if you're looking for people to play with, the Discord link is down below. That's a really, really awesome place to be. Thank you again for stopping by, and I will definitely see y'all on the next one.